be noted. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Members, I understand the next financial review members wish to debate is the financial review of the New Zealand Defence Force.
Mr. Chair.
Will members please turn to the Foreign Affairs and Defence Trade Committee's report. The question is that the report of the Foreign Affairs, Defence and Trade Committee on the 2011-12 financial review of the New Zealand Defence Force be noted.
Mr. Chair.
The Honourable Dr. Jonathan Coleman.
Mr. Chair, I want to begin, and I want to do it actually on Mr. Goff's behalf as well, because I know he would intend this to be done. But I want to pay tribute to our service people in the NZDF who have served very, very bravely over many, many years and are just coming out of 3 very stressful and dangerous deployments in Afghanistan. Afghanistan, where 10 New Zealand Defence Force personnel gave their lives. East Timor, the Solomon Islands, where our people have served with distinction. My first priority as Minister of Defence is to support our people overseas. They face extremely dangerous circumstances, and I think the start of any speech on defence should be to graciously acknowledge the risks that our people face in the name of the New Zealand public. I just need to say, Mr. Goff, that speech was an absolute unpatriotic disgrace. Unpatriotic disgrace. When I go around New Zealand Defence Force bases, what they say to me is they are absolutely fed up with traitors like Phil Goff talking down the morale of the New Zealand Defence Force. Mr. Goff, the one thing I know about him is he will constantly misrepresent the facts. I've been in Parliament for 7 years, and my experience of that man when he was a minister and now as opposition defence spokesman is he will constantly misrepresent the facts. And I think it's a total disgrace that rather than actually take the opportunity to praise our people, he actually went on to trash our defence force. Well, actually, Mr. Goff asked, has morale ever been lower? And I can say, well, it has, Mr. Goff. It was lower when you were Minister of Defence. And I can say today that 4 out of 5 of New Zealand Defence Force personnel rate their morale as very good or better. 4 out of 5. And I can say, if you had 80% of people in the Labour Party rating their morale as very good or better, you would be, frankly, totally shocked. So what I can say, Mr. Goff, is we need people, New Zealanders from across the House, and I'm sure there will be many people in the Labour Party who will agree, who will back our people, who will say our Defence Force people are doing a good job. It's no good for Mr. Goff to constantly harangue me with meaningless interjections, with drivel, because, as Charles Chauvel said, Mr. Goff is the enemy within. He's the enemy within for the Labour Party, and frankly, he's the enemy within for the New Zealand Defence Force, because he doesn't back our troops. I was actually just listening to this man using the court of inquiry into a brave New Zealand soldier who died in Afghanistan to make a political point. And that, Mr. Goff, is a complete disgrace, because you have broken a suppression order, and I invite you to go out into the foyer and say that again, because I don't think you would have the balls to do it. I don't think you would, because Mr. Goff, he's all talk but no action. And he's been here tonight lying and misrepresenting.
Now, Minister, there is a standing order that says you can't say that a member is lying. I know this is a robust debate, but I'll just ask the member to be very careful about that and also some of the language. The Honourable Dr. Jonathan Coleman. Point of order, Jami-Lee Ross. No, I wasn't the judge of that. The Honourable Dr. Jonathan Coleman.
Anyway, I think we've had enough on that particular topic. What I do want to say is, when you look at the savings program that we have instituted across the New Zealand Defence Force, that is not something that is unique to New Zealand. If you go overseas, you talk to the French, you talk to the British, you talk to the Americans, Defence Force reform is the response to the global financial crisis. It's an absolute fact. And the New Zealand Defence Force has the best reform program across the New Zealand public service. Last year, across defence, we saved $140 million, and that is quite remarkable. Mr Goff speaks about attrition. Well, I can say the attrition, well, if you listen for a moment, the attrition rate today is 17%. It was 19% in 2001 under Labor. That's a fact. Army attrition is less than it was in 2005 when Phil Goff was Minister. Air Force attrition is less than half of the 24% reached in February 2002.
Order. Sorry. Now, I've just brought the Minister to account for using the word lie, and the same applies on that side. Now, it's even, so we're starting off again. Now, 16 seconds remaining for the Minister.
So in summary, I back our personnel. They do an excellent job. I call on Labor to back them as well. Our people need support. They take massive risks. We've lost 10 people in Afghanistan. Phil Goff needs to man up, stop trashing the Defence Force and back our people.
Dr Paul Hutchison.
Great pleasure to speak on the financial review of the